It is November 18th, 2023, and 25 years ago today, the Powerpuff Girls premiered on Cartoon Network. Another character from a different show holds my personal biggest Blorbo title, but when it comes to a series as a whole, the Powerpuff Girls has had an incomparably bigger influence on me. The art style and sense of humor, the personality and silliness of the characters, and the way it doesn't take itself too seriously, while still being serious enough to stay engaging, all had a massive hand in shaping my voice as an artist, and my drive to use my skills to have fun on my own terms. There are thousands of artists who will tell you that Powerpuff Girls inspired them to draw, and it probably goes without saying that I'm one of them. Powerpuff Girls premiered in 1998 when I was 4, and remained a pretty constant watch for me among the other Cartoon Network series of the era. It was the first female-led media I saw, and for a long time it was about the only one I cared for.
Watching TV.
As a child, I was very much a tomboy and liked boy things, but Powerpuff Girls helped me realize that I could identify with girls and express my own femininity sometimes. Bubbles was my favorite because I saw myself in her, as most girls my age did. When the Powerpuff Girls movie hit theaters in July 2002, it was the first movie I saw on the big screen multiple times. 3, to be exact. I loved it so much that my father bought me a portable DVD player with the Powerpuff Girls movie for Christmas that year, and I wore it out in ways only an autistic child could. To this day, it's one of my favorite films. Snappy, stylish, and heartfelt to a degree rivaling some of Pixar's tearjerkers. I'm turning 30 next year, and Powerpuff has been a constant in my own life and a treasured reprieve from the many troubles I've weathered over the last quarter century. As a fan artist, I have a reputation for allegedly defiling the source material, but having spent actual decades doing deep dives on everything about this show, searching for tiny scraps of information to shitpost with, amassing gigabytes of fan art and reference material, Lenny Baxter maxing, and occasionally qualifying as a public menace on account of how much crap I've turned out over the years, I like to think I have at least some appreciation for this weird cartoon that inspires me to come back to drawing after extended breaks due to real life wearing me down. Without this show, my life would have taken an entirely different trajectory, and I'd like to think I'm on one of the better paths. There are certainly worse things to be obsessive about, and I'm not going to pretend I'm normal about it because that would be lying. But enough about me. 25 years is a long time, and none of Cartoon Network's shows match the longevity and impact of the Powerpuff Girls. Ben 10 sold the most toys, and a few modern offerings like Adventure Time and Steven Universe have definitely made their mark on the media and fandom landscape. But in terms of cultural relevance, nostalgia farming, and global recognition, the Powerpuff Girls has nearly everything beat with good reason. If you're over a certain age, you can remember a time when the Powerpuff Girls was everywhere. On the television, in the toy aisle, at the grocery store, and even on the side of an airplane. Among the smorgasbord of millennial-preferred franchises, 3 bug-eyed little girls stole the hearts of a generation. The series follows a Monster of the Day format, each episode opening on the city of Townsville, the titular girls' beloved home, and follows their adventures and misadventures until ultimately they resolve their problems, saving the day before bedtime and repeating the next ad infinitum. There's pretty loose continuity, so it's easy to jump in at any point and enjoy the stories, no matter how many episodes you've seen before, and I think that heavily episodic formula is a great and iconic strength. As a kid, your days are similar to the girls. You go to school, you play with your siblings, overcome challenges, and learn new things. The love and support people show to the girls in appreciation for what they do and who they are is something a lot of kids don't get at home, and though the citizens of Townsville have their flaws without any brain cells to make up for them, the girls protect and love them in kind. Though at times the mood can whiplash and the characters can make mistakes, the philosophy and tone of the show is overall positive and optimistic, which is still important today and relevant to adults who may be caught up in nihilism, hate, boredom, and depression. The Powerpuff Girls face much bigger threats than most people do, but they can always find a way to overcome the obstacles, make it to bed on time, and find the courage to do it again the next day. This is the fundamental essence of the series, and one of the reasons people can still enjoy it. Deep down, even in our darkest places, we want to be able to have the strength to carry on and face tomorrow, no matter the demons we face. A set of characters suitable for all ages who can demonstrate this strength is invaluable, and none do so more literally than the Powerpuff Girls. Much greater minds than I have put to words how we, in our modern world, have eschewed the gods and heroes of old, and replaced them with secular superheroes and other fictional characters. The human need for self-reflection and understanding has always been met vicariously through entertainment, the way the Greeks sought catharsis through drama. One need only look to Marvel and DC and their legions of religiously dedicated fans for proof, and the Powerpuff Girls nods to both, despite being set in a DC universe. In fact, Powerpuff nods to a lot of the modern world's favorite stories, Star Wars, anime, even Christmas classics. It's a melting pot of references that doesn't rely on them to get the point across. They say no story is original, though, and the Powerpuff Girls aren't an exception. The girls have such strong staying power and cultural impact because they are our modern-day archetypal triple feminine, in its most perfect little form. Every girl innately identifies with them, and every boy sees his ideal in at least one of them. Blossom is the pretty perfectionist with big goals. Bubbles is the sweet, artsy girl who loves animals. Buttercup is the tomboy with a softer side, a wild woman archetype to end them all. The fandom has, for better or worse, persisted all this time because these characters can be recognizably interpreted 1,000 different ways to tell a million different stories, all while keeping this element of the Trinity intact. Or not, depending on which fanfic you're reading. The show is aware of and mocks hollow corporate slogans of girl power because it understands that it is more. The Powerpuff Girls represent eternal feminine forces of empathy, wisdom, and strength. They are a modern myth with a pantheon of villains and vices to overcome. They can and will outlast even the network itself. As I write this missive, Cartoon Network as we know it has all but crumbled, along with much of the American animation industry. Years of bad leadership, weird marketing decisions, and unappealing content have essentially destroyed a company that was once a beacon for aspiring artists and storytellers, looking to shows like the Powerpuff Girls as inspiration. Even Powerpuff has had rough patches as a franchise, often reflecting the state of the network. Sporadic specials marked both reverent and experimental eras. The 2016 reboot exemplified how far the network had fallen since its glory days, and we don't even need to discuss the live-action spin-off because it was so bad it got canned before even a trailer dropped. Yet in spite of all this, good content still comes. Troy Little's run on an IDW series captured the spirit of the original, and Dynamite announced last month that they would be producing new Powerpuff Girls comics. At this point, I think audiences have a decent sense of what will be good and what will be bad when it comes to the Powerpuff Girls. The Dance Pants special had gorgeous art, the original voice cast, and generally matched the tone of some of the original series' later episodes. In contrast, the 2016 reboot looked cheap, recast the main characters for marketing and financial reasons, and was plagued with controversies over its terrible writing decisions and drastic tone shift. People know what they do and don't want from the Powerpuff Girls as a franchise, but it's up to Cartoon Network to actually listen. And they don't have the best track record with that, but I guess time will tell in this case. Nothing new has been announced yet, and perhaps something will be dropped today on the anniversary, but Craig McCracken himself has been developing a continuation of the Powerpuff Girls. McCracken's style and tone has evolved since his last run with his girls, and it's hard to say how much of the original crew could be available to help. Whether it will actually be picked up or not is still unknown, and I think if nothing else, this has the potential of being the Powerpuff revival people have been asking for. As long as the trademark's good, I think we're going to be getting Powerpuff stuff for at least another 25 years to come regardless. And to be honest, in spite of everything, I kinda hope we do. The world is very different than it was just 25 years ago, but the underlying message of the Powerpuff Girls is sorely needed, now more than ever before.
Can we, Professor?
Well, I don't know. Okay, but only if it's before your bedtime.
Thank you for watching my first video essay. I plan to make several more, mainly media essays. Rather than outright critique like most ToonTubers, I plan to take the schizo-autist approach of symbolic meanings, psychoanalysis, and weird theories. I also have a few art tutorials planned to help people draw so they don't have to resort to using AI and get bullied off of Twitter. If that sounds interesting, useful, or entertaining in any way, please feel free to subscribe, and I hope to see you next video.